Hey fam, hopefully everybody's doing well. Super excited today because we have a really, really special guest. He has won awards. He's a Grammy nominated artist. He's won Stellars. He's won Dove Awards. He's a singer. He's a songwriter, a producer, an actor. He does a little bit of everything and does it extremely well. And he's a great overall. I'm gonna tell you this: all of the awards are great, but at the end of the day, he's a great human. So, friends, help me welcome today none other than Mr. Brian Courtney Wilson. Bro, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good, man. So grateful to have you with us today, man. So listen, man, we're going to dive in. We have quite a few people that listen to us. Our MultiTracks family, they are producers, they're songwriters. They do a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And so I always like to take this opportunity to have conversations that provide insight, and so we're going to pick your brain a little bit and talk about your music, which is super impactful, man. So we'll kind of start there, man. So listen, when I listen to your voice, you're like an old soul, man. I mean, it's like a vintage, rich vocal sound. And you've been in the game for quite a while. I think you started back in 2009, which was the first record. And I just want to know, I like to start here, man. What keeps you grounded? We've talked about some of the successes that you've encountered, but after working with you, we worked together at a couple of conferences. I think the first one was at Israel's conference, Deeper Conference a couple of years ago, and then it was back at MegaFest as well. And you were just a great guy, man. So I want to know, what keeps you grounded, Brian?
I sing Christian music, inspirational music, and the core of what we talk about is how we were wretches undone, and we were sinners saved by grace. And so what keeps me grounded is I keep considering the fact that you're even talking to me today because God saw fit to send his son to save my life. And I'm singing about that relationship. And if people regard me at all, it's because I have a relationship with the Lord that has put me in a certain light, so to speak.
Wow.
And I appreciate what you're saying too about it, but that's what it is. His grace has been sufficient in my life.
God, that's so good. His grace has been sufficient. Sometimes because we are in the entertainment industry, and sometimes we forget, especially if we're a gospel and Christian artist, that the main thing is the main thing, and that's about the relationship with him. We are sinners saved by grace, and he didn't have to choose us, but he did. And because of that, that's the disposition upon which we serve, we sing, we write, just to talk about a person that really saved our life. And I love how you really alluded to that, man. So that's really, really great. So you have two kids, right?
Yes, Skylar. Cool,
man. So are any of your kids involved in music?
My son is, in particular. He's studying music now at USC. He just finished his freshman year there and made the dean's list. So I'm very proud of him. And my daughter, actually, she's studying human development at Cornell University, but kind of branching into songwriting now, as she sees it as a part of her skill set now. So I'm proud of her as well, just for kind of coming out her comfort zone in that regard.
Nice, man. Now you studied. You sang in the choir. I think it was in Chicago. Your undergrad. Did you sing as well? So that's cool.
Yeah, I've been singing since Fantasy Island was hot on TV. Fantasy Island and the Love Boat.
Fantasy Island.
Yeah, they used to make me go to choir rehearsal. My dad with the men's choir, and growing up, I hated it because one, we didn't sing a lot. They did a lot of talking in the choir rehearsal, and what I realized was that they weren't just gathering to do the music; they were gathering to build one another up. They were
wow. Say that, man. That's so good.
And so that is part of what informs my music. The fact that you can use it to build community, and the community is the thing that's paramount in the way we relate to one another. And that jobs with Colossians. I believe it's Colossians 3:13. It talks about these songs being the way we communicate with one another in community. That is my upbringing musically, being forced to go to choir rehearsal. Then I went to college, and I was in my college choir there, the University of Illinois Black Chorus, where I got some expert instruction on vocals and the discipline it takes to be successful at anything, really, from
Yeah.
Dr. Ollie Watts Davis there. And the rest has just been taking that as a volunteer in different choirs that I was a part of, ending up at Windsor Village United Methodist Church in Houston, where they decided to record their very first record while I was there. And the choir director at the time asked me to lead a song called Awesome God.
Wow.
That became a regional hit. And at the time I was working in corporate America. But I always felt this tug to do more. And that was just like kind of pushed me over the edge. Like I didn't want to look up at the age I am now and regret not having tried it,
Wow.
And God has been indeed awesome and faithful with the yes that I gave him in that regard.
Wow, that's so good, man. Thank you for kind of sharing that. We hear the scripture, man, the steps of a good man are ordered by the Lord. And we always look at that and think about the outcome. But we overlook the fact that he says the steps.
The steps.
It is steps, man. It is a process that God takes us through. That process can take a minute, but it's so important and it's so vital. It teaches us discipline. We learn discipline in that process. We learn patience in that process. And that's so great that you took a moment to kind of share that and to see how it started back with your dad, making you go to rehearsal, to you being invited to sing on that. And I think from that, the connection happened with the Knowles family and the recording stuff. And it's just how it's crazy how God works, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I was working at a church, and the Knowles family happened to be a part of that church. I heard one of the first songs I wrote called "Already Here," and that's how I got my first record deal on that song.
That's so great. That's so great, man. So let's talk about your creative process. Yeah. Now, we've interviewed a plethora of people, and everybody is different, man. People, sometimes they get songs in dreams, sometimes they get songs in collabing with friends, et cetera, et cetera. But what is your creative process, Brian?
Yeah, I always liken it to connecting the dots. And just, I'll see a dot here. A lot of times it's in a church service. I'll hear something that really resonated with me. I remember I was collaborating with one person at one time, and we heard something. I said, "Hey, did you hear that?" And I realized that I heard it first, and it wasn't something we all heard together. And then you gotta, once you hear it, whatever that idea is, then you craft it like you're molding clay. You wrestle with it. You may sleep on it, and then you come back to it. You may, when I say connecting the dots, you may have that first dot, and then you hear something later in a conversation or even in a television commercial, what have you, that makes another connection, and then it starts to coalesce in a way that feels like revelation to me. In fact, when I really feel it, I start to tear up because I know it's grace. I know it's God. It's not so much me making it or imagining it as much as seeing what God is allowing me to see, and then putting it in something that could be, first of all, be true to what's in my heart.
Yes, talk about that, man.
And then prayerfully be resonant to the people around me in ways that are useful. That's what I always pray for, that people see value in it and that it's useful.
Man, let me tell you, I love you said that the litmus test is, man, I'll tear up.
Yeah, man.
It'll cause you to tear up. I am the exact same way. If I'm working on something, it can be, if I'm writing, if I'm working on an arrangement, if I ever tear up, I know I'm on to something. And it's what you talked about, man, what you touched on. It's literally like the grace of God that he chose to flow creatively through this earthen vessel, this jacked up vessel that don't get it right all the time.
Right.
But he saw fit to allow me to steward something that is so precious and use me as a conduit by which he can communicate a song or arrangement to be a blessing to so many people. And when I listen to your music, Brian, let me tell you, man, from your songs, they resonate with the human soul, the condition of the human soul. Songs like Worth Fighting For, My Soul Says Yes. I can never listen to that song without crying. That's real talk. Like, I can never listen to that song without crying. And that's just, thank you for giving us insight, because now I get it. I get it, how it works for you. And that's really, that's incredible, man. That's incredible.
I'm glad. Thank you.
So yeah, man. So here's the thing. Okay, you came on the scene in 2009. Then you did another record in 2012. Then 2015 was a big year for you. I think that's when you won the Stellar and then the Dove Awards in 2015 record, the Worth Fighting For record. And then your latest album, Still. I want to unpack that amazing piece of work.
You like
it? It is incredible. What was it like? It was released in 2020, correct?
Yes. Yes.
We all know what 2020 represented for everybody. It was a tumultuous year. There was so much going on with COVID and just social unrest, civil unrest. Fear was something that was extremely prevalent, not just in America, but around the world. And God gave you a project that was prophetic because, you know, you probably recorded in 2019 and leading up to maybe the earlier part of 2020, and then not knowing what was really ahead of us. And to see what came out of that season, take us into that process of cultivating and sculpting that record.
Well, like you said, it was a tumultuous time,
Mm-hmm.
and it was a time of stretching. And I saw it as like, hey man, if you were willing to say yes to what God was calling you to in that moment, it
Mm-hmm.
made you stronger. It certainly made me stronger. And so I wanted to speak to all the things that I was seeing that were, you know, stretching me, causing consternation, causing, you know, unrest in my own spirit. And then the reasons why, oh my goodness, the reasons why it was okay to leave it in God's hands. Because we've always had to. We've always had to face down mountains that seemed insurmountable. We've always had to walk in the valley of the shadow of death and fear no evil. I mean, that's our, you know, David talked about it a lot, you know. So I wanted to put that down. And the way it stretched us was because logistically it was tough to, you know, do what we typically were doing. That's, you know, go somewhere in a studio together with the people we were going to be working with. And so it stretched me. I had to, you know, refit. I'm in the room now where I recorded a lot of the music. And then you had to find the space, you know, mentally and in your heart and with your emotions to really focus on, okay, what's the most important thing to say here? One song in particular that really sticks out to me is Waiting on this record. Because beautiful I realized there were things that, you know, I had around me already to get to where I wanted to go. And many times in the past, I was waiting on something else. But the things that the Lord had for me to finish my assignment were right in front of me. I just didn't see them. You know what I mean? And I think that happens to a lot of people in many ways, you know. But hey, we walk by faith and not by sight. That's how we please the Lord, is with our faith. And so there's grace still to even employ that in these moments. And I'm hoping that's what people hear with this record, that if you're still breathing, God is still voting on you to finish and manifest the kingdom in the earth, and not just for you, but for your neighbor, to be a manifestation of hope and peace and joy for your neighbor. And that's just a little bit of what that project means to me, man. I hope people really dig it. Well, it sounds like you do.
It's indeed a special project, and you can tell that you paid a price to birth that one. You know, that stuff, it doesn't come easy, and when it's weighty, like that one is weighty, and the messaging is so on point the way that one is, you realize that somebody paid a price. And what, you know, like I said, we have a lot of creatives on this call, and we realize with creatives, man, there's a myriad of issues that we are facing, whether it's, you know, the anxiety of not knowing really what's next, dealing with depression, dealing with the weight of, okay, God, when is this going to happen for me? Am I ever going to get my big break? But I love what you talked about in dealing with waiting. I think we've taught people how to shout. We maybe taught people how to dance. But let me tell you what we haven't done a great job of is teaching people what it means to wait on God.
No question. No question.
What it means to wait on the Lord, man. So that's really, really great. A big hit that's on this song is Fear is not welcome here.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
That's a That song is so smashing, bro. It
Thank you.
is incredible. Incredible. You're talking about fear. Now we know that fear is a big topic. Everybody faces it. I don't care if you've been saved for 20 years. I don't care what your socioeconomic class is. I don't care what your race is, what anything is. Fear is not prejudice. It's something that hits all of us. And I love the messaging behind this song. So what was the thing that kind of caused you to say, all right, this is something that I have to lean into and I need to birth this song, Fear is Not Welcome Here? Take us into that process.
Well, it starts with something, again, that stretched me. I had never really had a meeting like we did before this project with other songwriters.
Oh, wow.
We had about 12 songwriters, producers on a call, and they just asked me to pour my heart out. Like, where am I? You know, and one of the songs that we had finished already was Still. So I spoke to why we wanted to do Still and how I was feeling. One of the writers turned something around in 48 hours. His name is Jeff Pardo. Again, this is something that stretched me because I had never worked with anyone in the contemporary Christian market before. Mm-hmm. He turns this song around 48 hours. I remember my son Josh when I heard it, and we were like, wow, this is amazing, you know?
Wow.
And I ended up recording it that week in this room on this microphone, turning it around to him. He was blown away, and the rest is history. And it was one of the things I remember hearing the song, and I hope this is not hubris when I say this. I think it's the type of song that sings itself. I think it's the type of song that sells itself. Like when you hear it, you're going to want to teach it. You're going to want to share it with other people. And again, you said something earlier, man, about somebody pays the price. You said somebody. And I think that's something that we all have to remember too. A lot of times we are benefiting from prices that other people paid.
Yeah.
Whether we know it or not. Like I paid $500 for this camera I'm talking into right now, but $500 is not what this camera cost. It costs the labor. It costs the time away from somebody's family to do it.
Yes,
it costs the mental acuity to design this camera. And then we're on this program. There's so many other things that go into the cost of what it takes. And that's why I talk about grace a lot. Sometimes you don't even know what people have paid for you to sit here to say you did something. And so I'm saying all that to say thank you to Jeff for extending the grace to me with the price that he paid to send this song my way for this project, because I count it a privilege and an honor to be able to sing it, because I think it's going, again, like I said, it sings itself.
Man, God, I told y'all he's an incredible human. I told y'all at the beginning, Brian is an incredible human. And yes, Jeff wrote a brilliant song. It was masterful. But I want to say this, man, your ability to deliver that message the way you did, with the integrity, with the conviction. It was that's a marriage made in heaven.
Thank you,
and you guys did a tremendous song. I mean, a tremendous job, you know, on this song and on this entire record. And I'm excited because we have these files. They're available on MultiTracks. We have all of this stuff, all of Brian's stuff, and so you can go visit us at multitracks.com and access these amazing resources. It sounds incredible, man. It's ridiculous. Okay, man. So here's the thing. Is there anything new that you're working on that's kind of on the horizon for you?
Well, you know, we've been talking about Still, and we actually just put out a deluxe version of the project. And on this deluxe version, you'll hear a retooling of Fear is Not Welcome, where we've added Hillary Scott to the project.
Hillary Scott, right.
She got wind of the song and was blown away. Her husband, Chris, introduced the song to her, and she decided to ride with us on this deluxe version. And so you guys got to hear it. Again, you know, graced us with her presence on there, so to speak. And I just can't wait.
She did a beautiful job on it.
And we also did a version of a song that I have loved since I was in college and was first introduced to his music, and then discovered the duets of Donny Hathaway and Roberta Flack. The song is called Be Real Black for Me. And Lettucey joins me on this song. And I want you to hear it, man. It's just all about Black love, man. And everybody's invited, for real. So come on and lean into it, for real. Lean into it. I think it's worth taking a listen.
Dude, the record is amazing. It is incredible. But again, all of your stuff has been just, you have set the bar and you have maintained it, and you just keep rising higher and higher. And when I tell you, Brian, you have been a blessing to all of us, to the body of Christ, but to the world at large, man. People listening to your music, they find hope. They find, they feel the presence of God. They feel God's grace. And just to hear you articulate all of what you've articulated today gives us insight into how that process happens, man. So I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to anything that you got coming out, man. Listen, we are behind it. Of course, all of your assets are available on all digital platforms. They're available on MultiTracks.com for your stems and all of that kind of great stuff. But bro, I want to say again, thank you so much for your time today. And we have a lot of young up-and-coming songwriters and producers that are listening to us. And I want to create space for you to just take a moment and speak a word of encouragement over those that are new, haven't been into that long. Just take a moment to share with them right now, if you will, Brian.
I would say, I'm going to tell you something one of my mentors told me backstage when I was, cutting my teeth as a worship leader, some good Sundays, some bad Sundays. And, on the bad Sundays, you're looking around thinking, man, if I could just get people to go with me, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And follow my vision or what have you, or really understand where I'm coming from. He looked me dead in my eye. He said, man, the guy you got to get to believe it the most is yourself. You got to believe it more than anybody else believes it. And I found that to be true. And I found the evidence of your belief to be born out of your faithfulness. Not the stuff you do on the stage, but the stuff you do off the stage. The way you dig deep into your craft, the way you dig deep into your spiritual life, the way you steward over the family you've been given, if you've been given that, or your own personhood, if you're single right now. How are you taking care of yourself to be prepared for the doors that the Lord is going to open that will blow your mind because you kept believing, because he showed you something. He did. Even when circumstances dictate that man, I may not see this through. No, you have the most important vote and perspective in this thing. Keep believing, keep going. Watch the Lord blow your mind.
Incredible. I always say this, man. We get bombs dropped on us, and that one was a bomb, bro. And thank you for sharing that. Thank you for sharing that, Brian. So, guys, listen, I want you to follow Brian, follow him on Instagram, Twitter. I mean, support him, go buy his records, and support this amazing, incredible human being. And Brian, again, thank you so much, man. I know there's a lot going on. You are a super busy man, but for you to take time out of your busy schedule to share with us, the MultiTracks family, we sincerely appreciate it, man. And we're praying God's continued blessings over you, over your family. And I'm going to tell you, it doesn't matter what you've seen. We're still believing that your best is still yet to come, bro. So we love you, man. And thank you so much for your time today.
Love you too. And I just want to personally say, man, I'm honored that you are interviewing me today. It means a great deal to me, because man, it means a great deal to me, Chris. So thank you. And I'm honored that you're saying the things that you're saying. It's no small thing to me.
Wow, man. Thank you so much, bro. Be blessed, man, and take care of yourself, okay?
All day.
All right, peace.